This one issue derails every project, and I mean every single one. A recent Harvard Business Review study looked at 2,000 individual business projects, and guess what they found? Every one of them, every single one, had at least one critical delay throughout the project caused by poor communication. Not bad process, not budgeting errors, miscommunication. Sam Zell, billionaire investor and operator, put it perfectly. Being able to sell your ideas is what leadership is really about. Your ability to define and delineate your ideas, to bring them to a level of simplicity so that others can both understand and buy in, is an extraordinary asset. In complex projects, your job as a project manager isn't to manage tasks. It's to manage and ensure understanding. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. How to convert deep technical complexity into clear, actionable language that drives buy-in and fast decisions. How to reduce friction, build alignment, and maintain momentum across every phase of delivery. This isn't about being a better talker. It's about becoming the translator. The one who bridges complexity and clarity. Because if you can't explain an issue clearly, you don't understand it. And if you don't understand it, you can't solve for it. Hi guys, I'm Toby, and for the last 15 years, I've worked as a real estate development specialist, and I take projects from business plan and feasibility all the way through to construction, sales, handover and aftercare. And having completed nearly $9 billion worth of real estate development across 4 continents, I specialize in turning the world's most complex project into simple and easy to execute steps and systems. Our vision for this video and channel is to create and help you achieve uncommon productivity and success in a commonly unproductive industry. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to do is translate complexity. Before you can communicate clearly, you need to think clearly. And that starts by understanding the true shape of a problem. A tool I've used again and again, especially during critical handover moments, is a mental model I call the root, branch, and leaf. It's a variation of what's known as a problem tree analysis. And here's how it works. The roots, that's where the real risk is, the underlying causes, the systematic risk, the friction points buried under 5 layers of documentation, the design delay that's due to incorrect ground survey data. The branches are the effects, the ripple outcome from that root cause if the problem isn't solved, so the design delay. And the leaf is the visible problem that the stakeholders see, lack of progress, timelines falling behind. If you're serious about delivering world-class projects, you need to get world-class at understanding the root to really drive home the urgency of the branch and the leaf. I first started using this during project handovers, the messy transition from planning and design to construction and delivery, and everyone talks about the work getting lost in translation. That's not by accident. That's because technical experts speak in granular detail and decision makers speak in consequences. So I'd sit down with my team and I'd apply this structure to every major risk or uncertainty before we handed over projects. What's the surface level issue? No permit to start on site. What is this actually going to impact? It's going to impact the delay to start on site before we even started. And what's really causing it? The pre-start approval document needs signing off. Then we simplify that information into language that moves people. Surface level clarity that still honors the depth of the issue. Let me be clear, you can't lead people through confusion if you haven't already taken the time to clarify it yourself. Early in my career, we caught a scheduling discrepancy that looked minor on paper, just a 2-week design delay. By tracing it down the tree, we realized that it would have pushed procurement past a call-off window for a critical power connection that we required. This would have delayed the entire build by a year. Because we mapped it early and presented it using the clarity framework we're about to go through, the entire team understood the urgency, and we adjusted the critical path in time and designed with only 1 day design delay, with no impact to our critical path or connection date. That's the power of clarity. When you reduce complexity, into simplicity without losing the nuance, your influence compounds, because now stakeholders trust you to interpret risk. They rely on you to translate. They move when you speak, not because you're speaking louder, but because you're clearer on your articulation of the top-level impact. And once you've done this internal deep understanding work, then you're ready to communicate it with structure, with sharpness, and with authority. And that brings us to the clarity framework. And this is communication in action. Once you've broken down the problem into a granular level yourself, then it's time to communicate with clarity. And clarity isn't just about dumping data, it's about frictionless understanding, getting people aligned and fast without confusion, without hesitation, or back and forth on uncertainty of points needing to be refined or defined even further. That's where the clarity framework comes in. And this is what I use when I need to explain a technical risk to senior stakeholders. Fast, simple, for high impact. Clarity is an acronym, and here's the framework. The C stands for clear articulation of the issue. That's our branch and our leaf. L, link to the impact that it will have, positive or negative. What are the implications this is going to have for the overall project? A, associated roadblock causing it. What's the root? R, required decision that must be made. The I is for initiative or the action that needs to be taken. T is the timeline for that resolution. And Y is your recommendation. Let me show you how this works and what it looks like in the real world. On one of our projects, we uncovered a highly endangered plant species on site. Now, most teams would have buried the information and the critical issue in a 40-slide PowerPoint or handed it off to some jargon-laced email. And here's how I presented it using clarity. The clear issue. We've discovered a federally protected plant species on the southern side of the boundary, linked to impact. If we discern it, the entire environmental approval is at risk. This could delay the project by 9 to 12 months. There was about 12 impacts that were associated with this risk, but we focused on the one or two that threaten momentum the most. The associated roadblock. The current site access plans and route of traffic was directly through the affected zone. Required decision. We need executive input as to whether we're going to redesign the access or if we can see if we can move the plant species. Initiative needed. We sketched out a reroute plan that protects the habited area and maintains momentum of the project. The timeline. We needed a decision by Friday, 7 days to avoid triggering compliance reviews. And our recommendation was I recommended that we greenlit the reroute as it protects the project timeline, it reduces the risk, it reinforces our ESG commitments. It was simple, direct, and actionable. And we usually keep these critical presentations to 5 slides at a max, as it focuses on the route and the decision needed. We actually have a template for how to use this on any issue, on any project, anywhere in the world in our downloadable resources in the link below. But that one conversation changed the project for the better and sparked a complete redesign that everyone bought into, from the ops team to the board level, with 0 time impact and minimal redesign cost. We actually ended up turning the space where this plant was found into a conservation and educational experience, ensuring the safety of that species for generations to come. And that's what clarity can do. It builds momentum towards the best outcomes, because you're always acting proactively rather than reactively. This framework is actually part of what we teach inside our Momentum operating system. If you're interested in implementing this with your team, then there's a link below for a free call where we can chat and see where you're at and see how we can sharpen your management edge. But let's get back to it, because what we're really trying to emphasize here is the goal isn't to sound smart and technically competent, it's to articulate obvious action. Because when you can break down complex issues into simple decisions, you stop being just a project manager. You become the person who moves things forward and gets little to no friction when key decisions are needed. So here's the recap. You don't just manage tasks, you manage understanding. Use the root, branch, leaf model to simplify complex risks for yourself first. Then apply the clarity framework to communicate risk in a way that drives momentum, not confusion. Great project managers don't speak louder, they speak clearer. If you like this video, then check out this next video on the 3 mindsets of elite project managers. The frameworks significantly complement each other. If this helped you sharpen your communication strategy, drop a like and subscribe for more deep dive tools like this. Until the next one, I'm Toby.